Hello, everybody. Welcome on Metal Ops TV. I have there is a time rift. It's time for an interview, a new interview with time rift, and I'm very happy. I have she's going to introduce herself from Portland, Oregon, if I'm right.
Correct. Yeah.
What's your name? What do you do in time rift, please?
My name is Domino Monet, and I am the newest singer. I stepped in July of 2023 for their former singer,
Yeah.
Vi, and it's been a blast ever since.
Okay. And before you, yeah, it was a man on vocals, if I'm right, on the microphone. It was
Mhm.
a man, and you arrived last
Correct.
year. Last year, yeah, around two
Mhm.
years ago, soon. Okay. Okay, time passed a lot quickly, and well,
Yeah.
so just a question because at first the band Time Rift was founded by Justin Kay, he's not here, but he's the guitarist and I guess the main composer of Time Rift. And on
Correct.
drums
Yeah.
there is Terika Catwood.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
Terica and Justin are like I like to think of them as like the skeleton and the muscles of the
ah,
band, and then
okay,
I'm kind of like the blood. So
okay,
we all need each other, but they're really the deeper structure of it. They've held it together for years.
okay. And Terika is in the band since 2017. Alors, so I want to better know you. Why did you join them simply? And what is your musical background? Did you have other bands, because you have a very good voice? You bring a lot of things in the new album. We are going to speak called In Flight. So we're going to release. So, what is your musical background, and why did you choose to join them in 2023?
Well, my musical background is pretty extensive. So on my mother's side, I am a fifth generation musician and a fourth generation singer.
Okay.
So part of it is just in my blood. I can't help it.
Okay.
I've
It's your life.
always
Okay.
sang.
Okay.
Yeah,
In
it's my life. It's
DNA.
in my
Okay.
family. Yeah, in my home growing up. I was never without music. So
Okay.
no matter what phase of my life I've been in, I've been singing. But then Time Rift, I had seen with Levi singing, and I was like, wow, these guys have such incredible energy.
Yeah.
They're doing something unique in the Pacific Northwest because that's a part of the United States that's very, as far as the metal scene is concerned, very doom heavy. So
Yeah.
lots of slower,
Yeah. Yeah.
darker, deeper sounds, and this stuff was way more in the mids and treble. And I like high octane, high energy rock and roll, and that can be hard to find out here. So when I did find it in Time Rift, I was like, yes. So when Justin called me up and said that Vi was going to be singing for another group and they needed another singer, I was like kind of starstruck. I was like, I can't believe they asked me. Of course I'll do that. So
Okay.
it was
Okay.
a bit of a no brainer. Like, yes, I would love to.
And at first, Time Rift, you know the band because you were a fan. Maybe you saw them in live in some shows with the previous lineup. Simply, and it's a friend. They
Yeah,
become friends. Okay.
yeah. So Portland is a pretty small town.
Yeah.
So
Well. Yeah.
if
Okay. Okay.
so we had played. I was in bands previously, and so my band and Time Rift and their previous organization of members had played shows together,
Okay.
and kind of shook hands and been like, I think you're great. I think you're great too. But
Okay.
that was really the extent of our friendship.
Okay. And do you think there is a special energy to be a threesome band? But I saw just some live gigs out there, recent with you,
Mhm.
with the home red. I don't know exactly where was it. Yeah, it's on YouTube. But you were four because there is a bass player. Is it a current member or just a session member on bass? And you could play bass because on the promotional photos for this new album, In Flight, we can see just 3 persons.
Correct. Yeah. So the three of us are official members. Alex is the name of the bassist who's been present at all of our live shows and in all the photos that you're seeing of the four
Okay,
figure configuration. And he's kind of like our unofficial member. So
okay,
he's not 100% committed. He's like not a session musician, but he is a very close friend of mine. We're in
Okay,
other music groups together, and
okay.
whenever I need someone to step in on bass, I'm like, Alex is my guy. He's so pro, so easy to work with. So he's the guy I always pull in when we need a hand.
And on the new record, second album called In Flight, who has recorded the bass player, bass part? Who?
So the bass parts are kind of a funny amalgamation of players. We had Justin Kay did some of the bass tracks. Um, we had a brief stint of Brian Crabaugh on bass. He also recorded the album, so he wrote and recorded quite a few of those bass parts.
Okay, okay, okay,
And then some of the parts were also written by Levi.
okay.
So
So
it's
you,
kind of
yeah,
kind of a
it's
mess.
a mix in the lineup. And if
Yeah.
you have a musical past, do you know you are able to play bass?
Correct. Yeah. I played cello for years and years and years. So
Okay.
stringed instruments kind of come fairly easy. I feel like if you can get one stringed instrument down,
Yeah,
it's not too big of a jump to go to different ones. So I can do cello, bass, guitar, but I really prefer to have just one job at a
yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah. That to be focused,
Yeah,
and it's not easy. Yeah, to sing and to play bass, and okay, okay, I understand. And
exactly.
but you could why there is no cello on the record? On the record, there could be some cello parts on some songs, but it depends on the atmosphere, the mood of the record.
Yeah, I think that's something we could definitely play around with moving forward.
Yeah,
This album, I joined the band and the album was already
yeah,
half
yeah,
recorded. So it was
yeah,
kind of like,
yeah,
all right,
yeah,
jump right into the fire and get going. So
yeah.
certain
Step by
time
step.
limitations,
Step
yeah,
by step.
I
Okay.
think influenced it.
But so that's why I wanted to ask you to interview you, and the band in general, because I like very much In Flight. I feel a good energy, rock and roll, simply rock and roll, but efficient riff and your voice, and it grooves, and sometimes there are more slow parts, some more melodic parts. Or for example, the fourth song, still I forget. Excuse me.
Was it
Uh,
Into
um,
the Stillness maybe?
yeah, a bit melancholic,
Yeah.
melancholic, maybe a bit melancholic.
Mhm.
Into the stillness, and and after it starts again, a new energy, especially in at the end of the album. That's why very and influences from seventies, of course. So it's that you like, and wanted to join also the band and to make a record like that, different maybe from Eternal Work.
Yeah. So when I joined the band, I tried to be as transparent as possible that
Yeah,
I love the band, but I don't sing like Levi sang.
yeah,
And
different.
so
It's
I was
different,
like,
of course. Yeah,
I, yeah. So it's like, if you guys are okay with me bringing a little bit of my flavor to the project, and they were. And part of what that is that I have a background in poetry. That's what I went and got my bachelor's in. And so that Into the Stillness song, those lyrics are taken directly from a William Stafford poem about
oh,
the majesty of being outside and feeling your how infinitesimally small you
oh,
can be when you're in these vast
yeah,
spaces. And so
okay,
we wanted part of what was important to me moving forward as a band was to use these dynamics that I know I have with my voice and
yeah,
pair them with this academic and just personal love of poetry and
yeah,
the power that poetry has to make and build a space. So I really like combining those interests and worlds, and everyone in the band
yeah,
loves being outside, loves nature. And so we wanted to bring the feeling of what it feels like to be in a massive wooded glen. Because on the West Coast, it's like
yeah,
it's just the nature there is just wild. We're so spoiled. We have so many
yeah.
waterfalls and
They're beautiful.
trees. So we
Okay.
wanted to bring how humbling that was to the recording.
And about the cover artwork, it's
Mhm.
an eagle,
Uh-huh.
symbol of America, the royal eagle. But I don't know if it's
Mhm.
exactly this royal eagle, but this is an eagle. So it's about nature, about the end. There is a song,
Mhm.
it's about that, or there is no political side like patriotism, symbol of patriotism of America, the eagle. So then what is it about exactly? And the lyrics, it's you who wrote the lyrics, you say.
Correct. Yeah.
What
I'm
is it
really
about?
glad you asked. Yeah, I'm glad you asked this question. So the eagle was more a representation of all the places that we come from. I come from the state of Idaho.
Yeah.
Justin grew up in Oregon, and then Terica is from North Dakota. And so we're from all these varying rural places. And so for us, the album was very much harkening back to mythologies as far back as we can trace them. And in the United States, what that traces back to is indigenous life. And so the eagle on the cover is more a representation of indigenous life that was thriving pre-colonial United States. Yeah. So in a way, it is patriotic in a sense that we love where we live and we think it's beautiful, but not patriotic in the way where it's like Star Spangled Banner per se. Like it's less political in that sense and more rooted in environmentalism and this love for indigenous knowledge that helped the lands that we all grew up in thrive for so many years, and they still do. Indigenous people are still here, and we think it's important to draw attention to their stories as well.
Okay, you have seen the news on in California and Los Angeles. Some interviews of some bands, for example, The Dark, the guys, the guitarist of Mice and Men, they canceled the interview because they have to escape from LA. You are a bit worried about that because it is catastrophic and dead persons and the building, of course, the house. You know some persons maybe in California and. You are a bit worried. It could be happen in Oregon too, huh? But the problem is the wind and the absence of raining.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a lot of friends in California. Justin's wife is from Southern California, so she still has family down there. So I think the West Coast is large, but not that big. It's like the music scene is still quite small. I think there's kind of I think about it in my mind's eye as like a scale. Like the devastation is undeniable. It's so heartbreaking, and there are so many people who have risen out of this destruction to help each other and recover as much as they can. Fires, there's people providing free veterinary care for all the pets, free meals. So there's this complicated tension there between devastation and really beautiful example of music. But we are very sad.
It's that moment, and the insurance it doesn't make all insurance if you can after. To find a new to restart again life, but or to move in the countryside of Oregon, for example. Let's speak about this. There are 3 singles out, if I'm right. And the song, the enter. But there are 3 singles out. If I'm right, it's In Flight, the title track.
Correct.
Also the I Am the Spear, if I'm right.
I think it's the Hunter.
Yeah.
And then Follow Tomorrow are the 3.
Yeah. Exactly. I will put the link in the description at the end of the video of this interview.
Oh, amazing.
But I have noticed there is no real video. There is a lyrical video with the lyrics, and after it's just the cover artwork. But are you going to shoot a video, for example, in the countryside of Oregon? Are you going or to play live or on the video? Because we didn't have seen. I know it costs a lot of money, but sometimes do it yourself. But we can do a lot of good things nowadays with an iPhone or something like that. So are you going to record to put out a new video for a new song? We can see the band playing or
Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the very next things on the to-do list. So in the ranking, it was like album release, then music video. So we we have that in the works. I'm really excited for that. That will likely end up being available to the public around late spring, maybe early summer, just because of the turnaround of video editing and things being very meticulous and
Okay.
taking a long time. But we're hoping to really showcase the visual elements of the band and the actual band, our faces, a
Yeah.
little bit more in
Okay.
the video as well.
Okay. About your music and the influences, it's here. We can feel yeah, some Led Zeppelin, MC5, Thin Lizzy, more rock also, some America for the 70s, but
Mhm.
also a bit Motörhead, but slow, quiet, not more speed. So it's that you MC5 also. It's all that your influences. You we can feel them on the your music on the music of Time Rift. It's this kind of music of 70s rock, hard rock, rock.
Mhm. Yeah, I think the 70s was such a, to me, a unique time because as as a woman, I go through these eras of listening to rock and roll, and there was just an explosion of female voices in the 70s. But
Yeah,
you only got through things like Motown and R&B and
yeah,
soul
yeah,
beforehand. And so to me, in my mind, the way that I conceptualize it is like um, in the 70s, women started being angry on stage.
yeah.
and
I
and that's yeah, and that's kind of that's really what gets me energized.
girl school, for example. Patti Smith,
Yeah,
Patti
exactly.
Smith. We can Patti Smith, a lot of yeah, yeah, yeah. John Baez. There is a movie about Bob Dylan, and it's going to release with Timothy.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's French, but we can see in Dune, and with
Yeah.
this John Baez. Because they start
Mhm.
at the same period, etc. You are going to see it on theater. Maybe it's out in USA. Bob Dylan. I don't know. The remember the
Yeah,
title exactly. Yeah.
I don't remember the title either, but I know that it's out right now. It's funny. We have a friend in Oregon,
Yeah.
and she is good friends with Bob Dylan.
Ah.
so
Okay.
so
Okay.
we've been kind of, it's like half a joke, but we're like, come on, tell us what he thinks about the movie, and she won't tell us. But I think maybe we'll go see it as a band and then form our own opinions. But we're all big fans of Bob Dylan. I think that he had, regardless of whether or not you're a fan of his music, he
Okay.
he changed the face of the music industry. So I
Yeah.
think as a
Yeah.
music
Yeah. Yeah.
historian, it's
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting and important to see.
Yeah. The movie is called Complete Unknown. Exactly.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Are you? Do you have plans to come to France because you are going to conclude? Do you have to play to play? No. Before to conclude about the live project. Uh, yes. It's interesting. Just before you speak about 70s, you play a music rock and roll inspired by 70s and early 80s rock and roll hard rock.
Mhm.
But at this time, yeah, women start to take a bit power less
Yeah.
than nowadays. There is a progress, but um, at this period in the 70s, it was very sexist, very macho.
Yeah.
Uh, so
Exactly.
but you play this kind of music at this time, or well, okay, there were women who start to sing, to put on stage, to stay on stage. Nowadays it's different, Me Too, etc. But
Mhm.
what do you want you to bring in this revival of hard rock? You as woman, because if it's the same thing that in the 70s, you have to make something different than to equality with equality between men
Mhm.
and women nowadays with your time waste
Yeah.
maybe
Well,
not to
it's
be
such
in
an
the archetype
interesting
is a cliche.
question.
Yeah, yeah, excuse me.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because I can only speak to America because that's where I'm like
Yeah,
playing and performing, but in America, and as far as I can tell from reading international news, there is a resurgence of this almost like 1950s glorification of conservative values.
yeah,
And so as far as we've come, there's still this backlash of kind of history repeating itself.
yeah,
So some of the struggles that like Patti Smith and all these badass ladies from the 70s were facing, like me and Terica also being a woman in the band, we're still facing kind of the same
Yeah.
friction and the same
Right.
pushback, but a different era.
Yeah.
I think the difference is that there is like social conversation that is
Yeah.
happening now that was not happening then. So there's a visible shift in the audience, I think, since I joined. So there's more women in the
Yeah.
audience, more women up front, more women coming to the
I.
merch booth
Yeah.
to speak to me afterward. And so what I hope to bring is just a continuation of that, really, is like
Yeah.
I think sometimes really all it takes is seeing yourself represented on
Yeah.
that stage.
Yeah.
And then that's like an open invitation to come into the boys club, as
Yeah.
it were.
Yeah.
So
It takes
I
time.
want
It takes
everyone to
time,
feel
but
welcome.
in our country there is an evolution. In
Mhm.
some countries, sadly, it's very complicated. In India, in Afghanistan, it's still complicated
Absolutely.
for women. For women,
Yeah,
sadly,
absolutely. Yeah.
they can't study. For
I
example, in some countries, they can't study in Iran or Afghanistan. It's sad, very sad.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Now, for positive note, what are the plans from Tyrese? Can we hope to see you live in Europe and maybe in France this summer, this
Oh,
year?
I know I'm crossing my fingers because we want to come to Europe so badly.
Yeah,
I think what we're juggling right now is that we all have full-time jobs.
yeah,
I'm in grad school. We have,
yeah. It's
wives
complicated
and
to do
partners
and
and
the
all these things.
expensive and administration and expensive. Yeah, but
Exactly, yeah. But where there's a will, there's a way, and we hope to make it work. We don't have anything officially planned at this point, but as you know, we have our record label is based in Germany, so we're very, very fortunate to have European distribution, which
yeah,
I
yeah.
think will help us in the long run in getting to Europe. So
Okay,
nothing on the books quite yet, but we're hoping to get.
okay, okay. So in flight, is released now. Dying, called In Flight. It's released in the label Dying Victims Productions. And I thank you very much for this interview. And I hope to see you
Yeah, thank
live
you.
one day in France, in Paris, or something like that, or in a festival. And come to play rock and roll because it's a very good album, very strong. The riffs are incredible. Your voice, your all the drums parts. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling. That's why I wanted to have you.
No, thank you so much. That means a lot. Thank you.
Okay, I let you. I say you bye bye for this interview and take care, Domino. Take care.
Great.
Bye bye.
Bonjour. Thank you.